I had listened to the whole clip, and the whole clip is not better for Biden. What it really reveals is how meandering and unfocused he is, and how he keeps dipping into these weird racial asides, one of which I want us to go to next, Katie, because I haven't heard anybody draw any attention to this yet, because it's not really substantive and of news value, but it's just so bizarre.
Where is it?
It's at 128. So Kamala finally gets a chance to speak, and he interrupts her immediately to say this.
So let's just come up with a plan and a roadmap for how we
Mark, you're going to be angry with me. I want to say one more thing. I am incredibly optimistic. Let me tell you why. I'm incredibly optimistic because society is changing. The Z generation and young millennials are changing.
The ones he has no empathy for.
Now, you're not going to
remember?
Maybe agree with what I'm about to say.
Millennials.
Take a look at what is happening.
Watch this.
15 years ago, could you turn on the television and see 3 or 4 out of 7 commercials be biracial commercials? What do you think, guys, huh? What do you think?
Biracial.
You want to know where society's going?
BRC.
Watch entertainment. Watch the profit motive. Why are these commercials, so many of them biracial? The young generation is changing. They're demanding more. They don't come with the baggage. Maybe 10, 20, 25% of them are pure racist. Who knows? But the vast majority are not
biracial commercial enthusiasts.
When I was coming up. And the second thing that's changed is that you and I have talked about this, Al. Remember what Dr. King said?
Oh my God.
Okay, he's about to go into another crazy thing. Can you just pause it for a second?
Yeah.
So when I listened to that for the first time, I lost my mind. I truly don't know what that is or what that's supposed to mean. Like the idea that you just sat through an hour of some of the most preeminent civil rights figures of our time.
Daisy.
Right. Green Book was a great film. Like these people, everyone on this call very seriously and meaningfully put to him a whole list of really grave concerns, serious concerns that the Black community in particular is dealing with at this crisis point. You know, Sherlyn Ifill called on him in particular, please, 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 Mr. Future President-elect, can you use your executive authority to do all of these things? She gave a whole list of things that he could do even if things go south in Georgia. And he came back and did a whole soliloquy that we should go back to about how he wasn't going to use executive authority, and then wants to come back and interrupt Kamala Harris, the first Black vice president, to offer this little tidbit about how things aren't really looking so terrible because there are a lot of biracial kids in television commercials these days.
I mean, commercials should be more biracial. You were born in the 40s? Like, that's
they
not a
didn't
sign
have
of
Black people in commercials, much less mixed race families.
Right.
And the idea that the profit motive is dictating.
Yeah, exactly. Well, capitalism recognizes Black people can buy things now. So look at that, guys. Do you ever think about that? NAACP people? Oh my God. Okay, so where's the...
That's outrageous. So he goes on, I don't know, I mean, this isn't like the most news substantive bit either, but the next little soliloquy is him talking about dogs biting the flesh of Black people in the civil rights movement. Oh, okay. And it's visceral. It's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that's what kept him away from the civil rights movement. That's why he wasn't there.
Well, according to him, he was one of the leaders of the civil rights movement. And in a soliloquy that I don't think we should play, he talks about how, well, maybe it's a part and parcel of this, but he talks about how, you know, he knew how much it changed because when he was a student out of college in Delaware and he used to stand on the train tracks, he could see one side of the town that was white and developed and one side of the town that was Black and not. And later, as he stood on the train tracks waiting for the train to arrive to take him to the inauguration or to meet up with Barack Obama or whatever, to be the first Black president of the United States of America, he thought, wow, we went from that to now I'm catching the train to get Barack Obama inaugurated, and look how far we've come.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like text.
He said that during one of the news things, right? During one of the town halls.
Oh, this is a bit that he's been replaying?
Oh, yeah, he did that. Where was the one in Florida where he was like, you know, totally pandered to some Miami and concerned about like the socialists, and he, it was one of the many times during the campaign he mentioned that he's the one who beat the socialists. But yeah, he brought up that story. I'm sure it's in a book too.
I'm sure.
But okay, let's yeah, okay, let's play this. I mean, he did. To be fair, I just want people to know he was a lifeguard in a swimming pool that Black people swam in. He did a lot of work, anti-racist training with Corn Pop. Peace be upon him. And he also, Black children would play with his golden leg hair. Do you remember that?
Yeah, you can't make this stuff up. And somehow, look, this I will acknowledge that stuff isn't the most important stuff, but it's important insofar as it's useful. I think it's necessary that we point out the media's bias angle of this. Right. Because if, I'm sorry, Bernie Sanders or any other progressive candidate who was on the wrong side of the corporate aisle were to have said any of that, it would have been playing nonstop.
Yeah, how about just lying? How about saying you got arrested visiting Nelson Mandela and you didn't get arrested at all? There was no arrest. Yeah. Andrew Young was like, no, I was there. He didn't get arrested. I mean, it's just insane.
On those Black women and sig the dogs on them, ripping their clothes off, going in their Sunday go to church best and ripping the skin off of those kids. He said it was that was supposed to be the wooden stake in the heart of the civil rights movement. Remember what he said?
It's a quote.
That was the most significant thing that happened in terms of freedom. What happened was we got the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act out of that. That young man who stood with a camera, a cell phone, like millions of people have, and stood there for 8 minutes and 46 seconds and took a picture of George Floyd asking for his mom, seeing his nose broken against that curb. All of a sudden, what happened? You saw a response around America and around the world. The world. Doesn't mean we don't have a big fight to go, but the first thing we had to do, and because of you, we get it done, is get rid of the racist Donald Trump. The first thing.
Don't defund the police, though. The second thing
we got to do is go back and appeal to those
after
folks
he won, right? I mean,
who some of that 70 million. Not appeal by giving them anything, but appeal by moving hard toward what will benefit them as well. If you notice,
giving them something,
whenever I make those speeches about civil rights and civil liberties and
but he's, of course, he's not talking about universal programs that are good and great.
Economic equality.
Talking about saying, I'm going to fund the police harder.
I make them to white chambers of commerce. I make them to white audiences. So I just think we have a way. I think the American
we could probably move to a different part, but like that's you get the gist of how this goes, right? He grandstands and tells his classic tales in a way that's completely non-responsive to the specific and substantive concerns that have been raised by this panel.
Right.
And to the extent that there's any remarks from the people on the panel, just then, as you saw in that clip, it was people kind of ushering him on and saying, yes, that's right. That's right. Yeah. No pushback at all except from anyone except for Sherlyn Ifill, and very little revealed even in the facial expressions. I'm almost impressed.
I know. Did they take something before? I don't know what you could even take that would make you like that.